First, I'd like to say if you get anything from this video, please like and subscribe so that it helps my channel. And I'm going to review Jersey Shore, the Blessification. And this is a really fun episode of Jersey Shore Family Vacation. So it starts off Mike saying that he and Lauren want to have their baby blessed, but the church won't do the blessing until Mike is blessed because they can't find his old records. So that seems crazy to me because they always have blessed anybody who wanted to be blessed, but that is the requirement of Mike's church. So it's going to be really done up nicely. They have gotten a big tub with purified water in it. It's not blessed water, it's just purified. And then they have a cross that has balloons covering it. And they have everybody there to witness this. And Pauly has been named the godfather of Mike. They have a lady who bought doves for the event. And these doves are homing doves so that once they're released during the blessing, they go back to the lady's house. And every time they come back in through the window at her house, they are monitored and timed as to what time they got back. Uncle Nino is going to be preparing the ceremony. Then we see Angelina at her house with Jenny. She's asking Jenny about her divorce, and she has fears that when she divorces Chris, she'll be all alone, and she thinks that's going to be very scary. Jenny says, don't stay married just because you're afraid to be alone. As they're talking, Chris enters the door. They're worried that he may have heard them discussing the potential divorce. He doesn't really stop to speak to them. He goes in the kitchen. He's making a lot of noise. Angelina thinks he's angry, doesn't want the girls to leave, but of course they leave. And that's the end of that scene. The Blessification is later that day, and so everyone gets ready for that event. The scene next goes back to them preparing for the Blessification.
Guys, this is beautiful. The song we heard. Oh, yes. Get crazy. Get loud. The blessification. The blessification. Today. The blessification. The blessification. Today. This is exactly why Pauly D would have been on the side eating bacon, okay, and then doing some sort of stand-up routine, and then he would have done the worm.
Mike starts dancing to the music, and he's getting down. He takes off his shirt down to his t-shirt. Lauren's laughing, and certainly is not a religious blessification. The whole event is accentuated by Uncle Nino doing the services, and he calls the blessification the classification, and everybody laughs and corrects him. It is notable that Uncle Nino is trying not to swear as much as he normally does because there are choir members there. Then Mike gets into the metal tub, which he says is filled with freezing water. He bends down, gets the nerve to lean back, dunk his head, and get up. And Deena says it's more like a polar bear plunge than a blessing. And she says, and who blessed this water? Well, of course nobody blessed the water. Then everybody picks up a dove. Angelina's dove poops on her chest, and Deena lets go of her dove too soon, but then the rest of the doves are released for the ceremony. Then everybody sits down to enjoy a nice meal outside, and everything is quiet, and Deena starts talking about herself. She's trying to take the focus off the blessification, and she's complaining she needs more iron because the pet psychic told her she was iron deficient. Deena says she's already made a doctor's appointment about her need for vitamin D and iron, and she only saw the pet psychic a couple of hours ago on the same day. Then Angelina and Jenny start talking about the pet psychic's comments that Chris was stepping out on Angelina, that he was in the city having relationships, and so they start discussing this at the table. Then Jay Wild says, "We really want you to be happy, and we're always asking about the status of your relationship, and we don't want to keep asking you about that, and you need to do whatever you need to do to make yourself happy and to resolve your marriage issues." It seems to me they're pushing a little hard for Angelina to get a divorce. She's known Chris for many years, and they had a good relationship, and then they got married and everything seemed to go bad really fast. Chris did have that period when he underwent a makeover and came back with a beard and looking much better, but that didn't seem to solve their problems. And Angelina says they weren't having sex for a very long time, and he keeps leaving the house to go live with his mother. So there are some major issues for them to resolve, but I really do like Chris for Angelina, and I will be sorry if she divorces and he is not in the show lineup. I did note the other day, as a spoiler, in the Daily Mail that it said Chris did file for divorce from Angelina. Now, Angelina had previously filed for divorce from Chris. She canceled that, and now Chris has filed for divorce from Angelina. So, very sad news. Back to the show. Pauly says that if Angelina doesn't want to live alone, well, Vinny is also living alone, and if she wants, she can move in with Vinny, and they can split the rent 50-50. Vinny is shaking his head no, and everybody's laughing. I think that Vinny and Angelina's chance of having a good relationship is very, very low, so I don't think she should be looking at Vinny for future marriage material. Then Vinny and Pauly are teasing Deena that she would listen to a pet psychic for information about her health. She said, Pauly said that that pet psychic was really smart and that she was a doctor before she became a pet psychic. And Vinny says, yeah, that pet psychic is very, very smart. Then Snooky takes Angelina aside for a heart-to-heart talk about her marriage situation. Snooky says, well, she has to make some changes. She needs to decide. Angelina says, well, she doesn't want to really leave Chris because she's known him for so long and they've had such a good relationship in the past. However, she says, with this new information, she feels that she has to make a decision. But she says, I'm going to try one more time because she just can't pull the eject button. Snooky says, well, make this the one more time, and hinting she shouldn't keep putting it off and giving Chris more chances in their marriage. So the Blessification is over, and they're planning for their next event, which is the next day. They're going to have a surprise party for Jenny and Zach to celebrate their engagement. So the next day, all the guys meet at Mike's house for guy talk, and the girls go to Jenny's for makeup. A bunch of makeup artists are meeting them at Jenny's to get them fixed up for the dinner. So we see the boys exercising, and Pauly asks Zach if he's ready, and Zach says, well, we haven't even talked about the wedding yet. And so they're surprised, and Jenny had said in the past that she would get married again when pigs fly, and the girls had decided that they were going to call this surprise theme for the dinner When Pigs Fly, because now Jenny is on the road to getting married again. Snooky approaches Nikki and says that she really needs to get Nikki on board with this surprise theme for Jenny's dinner, and she tells her about Jenny saying she would not get married again unless pigs fly. Nikki laughs and Nikki says she'd be glad to help out with decorating. Mike comes into the dinner. He's still celebrating the blessification as he's doing the creep walk. Then later, Jenny and Zach come in. They're very happy, and everybody yells, "When pigs fly." Jenny is surprised about the theme of the dinner. So they decide to go around the table and say, "What's the one thing you are putting off and would do again if pigs fly?" And Jenny says, "Well, I'm famous for saying that I'll remarry again when pigs fly, so that's mine." Deena says, "When pigs fly, she'll stop drinking wine." Snooky says, "When pigs fly, she'll stop having babies." Mike says, "When pigs fly, the situation will be sober." Everyone says, "Well, you are sober." He says, "Yes, well, Jenny's getting married, so pigs are flying." Pauly agrees. He says, "She's getting married, so today pigs are flying." Deena says, "I'm so confused." Jenny says, "Hey, we're not here because we're smart. I know that, you know that, we all know that." Then Angelina comes in and they yell, "When pigs fly." Angelina shows up. Angelina says, well, she didn't want to miss Jenny's celebration dinner, so she decided to come. She looks great, and Pauly says, "Ask her where Chris is." And they say, "Pauly, shut up." Mike says it's got to be hard on Angelina. Yesterday, everyone was advising her to get a divorce, and now here she is at an engagement party. That's got to be hard. Angelina says she just has to take some time and take a breather. Everyone sent Jenny a best wishes card. Jenny reads them. Then Mike says that they're going to have a brunch at his house, and these guys eat a lot of food. Zach says he has to go. Jenny says she has to go take care of her kids. She didn't know this was going to turn into an engagement party. Then Deena says she's going to check in with Angelina. Angelina says she's doing, and they flash back to the pet psychic saying, "Are you really happy? Is this really what you want to spend the rest of your life doing?" Angelina is looking pensive. She says, "Am I just going to take my entire life, my whole marriage, and put it in the hands of a psychic? Is that what I'm going to do with my marriage?" Angelina says there are all kinds of people telling her different things in all directions, and she says what she really needs to do is just think about things, take control of her life, and do what she really wants to do. Deena advises her to sit down with Chris and talk things out. Sounds like good advice to me. As Deena and Angelina are leaving, Angelina says, I really like this psychic, I really do, but maybe she's more right about animals, meaning you don't take her advice as your doctor or as a marriage counselor. Next, we see everybody the next day coming to Mike's house for his brunch, and the week that they had planned for the blessification is over, and they're getting ready to say their goodbyes. Pauly and Nikki are going back to Las Vegas. Mike tells everybody the food, which consists of croissants, egg sandwiches, and coffee, are ready. The sandwiches are in the warmer, and they're ready to enjoy each other's company. Snooky says everything was so nice during the week, and the only drama was Angelina and Chris. Mike says, I think Angelina and Chris want to be married, but he says he doesn't think they're putting any effort to have a healthy, happy marriage, and I wholeheartedly agree. Then they show scenes of all the guys and the girls cuddling around the kids and talking about how great the kids are. And Mike says he wants to thank everybody for coming and making this blessification and weekend such a great time. Mike says he had such a good time that it's time for them to plan another vacation. He says he's off probation, so he can go anywhere. So he wants to go somewhere exotic, and Pauly and Vinny suggest Queens or Hoboken. Mike says he's been wanting to travel for 8 years. Now that he's off probation, he has his passport and he's ready to go. He tells everybody, make sure your passports are ready, but he's not going to tell them where he wants to travel yet. Then Mike calls Angelina, tells her that he's planning an international vacation for the group and she needs to have her passport ready. He asks if she wants to invite Chris. She says, "Do I have to let you know right now?" He says, "Well, you have to let me know soon because I have to book tickets." Of course, the spot is still unknown. He says this would be a great opportunity for you and Chris to talk things out, and so you might want to invite him. Mike says, "I think they really want to be together, but they just don't have the tools to work with in order to make their marriage better." So then, amazingly, Mike sits down with Lauren and he's booking a trip. He wants to go either to Florida, Cuba, or the Bahamas. One of the main things he requires for the trip are chicken tendies at the hotel. He finds a hotel that has their own version of chicken tendies, and then he books airline reservations for the group. Then that's the end of this episode. This is a really fun episode, and if you can, I would advise you to watch it. It'll bring a lot of smiles to your face. In previews, they show the group having a lot of fun at a resort, and it looks like that while they're there, they get a storm warning. So, looks like fun. Don't forget to subscribe and like this episode. Bye.